Dustin Poirier is ducking Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Well, that's at least what Paddy is claiming. It all started when rumors on social media were circulating saying that the kid from Malcolm in the Middle was gonna face Dustin Poirier for Dustin's retirement fight, which would make sense for the UFC, right? I'm sure the UFC would probably hope in this case Dustin loses the fight to Paddy and they could build Paddy into a big star of his own off Dustin's name. You know, Dustin's just gonna go retire and box or do whatever the hell he's gonna do. But Dustin responded and Dustin immediately shut this down. And yeah, like I said, this thing gets crazy. Paddy gets involved. Paddy just starts calling out Dustin, calling him a duck. And this is how it all starts. This is what Dustin Poirier had to say about fighting Paddy.
Now, I know you're trying to get a final fight. I think the retirement match is what we're calling it. Likely here in New Orleans, likely hopefully this year. Where are we at so far with that?
Me and the UFC been working on this, and I was worried when I first came to them with the idea that I want to retire at home in Louisiana, that they would be against it, but surprisingly they were down for it to push forward and try to make it happen for me. And I think we're close. I think this summer we could have a fight here in New Orleans.
Who would it be against? There's a lot of talk that it might be Paddy Pimblett or somebody. Who's it going to be?
It's 100% not Paddy Pimblett.
Okay.
Legends only. I'm not going to retire fighting a Paddy Pimblett.
Now, I'm sure you guys could probably guess Paddy was not happy about this, right? Paddy getting disrespected, being called not a legend. Even Nate Diaz got in the mix, Michael Chandler. I mean, this thing gets messy. Paddy first jumped on a podcast to talk about his potential next fight and gave some details on it.
I'm open to fight on 314 on
Is that Miami?
Yeah, Miami. Never been to Miami.
And after Miami, is it looking at later in the year, Abu Dhabi maybe? I think
that's what I want. Yeah, I want to fight in Miami, then Abu Dhabi in October.
Interesting that he wants to fight in Abu Dhabi, but yeah, you know, this April card, UFC 314, seems to be where Paddy Pimblett is going to fight. Who, we don't know yet, right? And that's where I'm going to discuss at the end of the video who I think he's going to fight. In this podcast, Paddy also threw some shots at Toria, who is probably going to headline that same UFC Miami card. Obviously, the two have had beef now for like 3 years. I mean, this beef has been going on for a while. Here's what Paddy had to say about Ilya.
I can't see Ilya fighting Islam. You know what I mean? He's only defended the belt once. Normally, you need to defend the belt like 3 times, and he's not that big of a star to just jump. He's not McGregor. You know what I mean? To just jump right up and fight for the other belt. So I can't personally see that happening, but we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I heard Ilya's headline in the 314 event against Volk, but you don't know till nothing's finalised with the UFC.
It's crazy to me that we were legitimately asking at one point for Paddy Pimblett and Toria to be fighting. Like, there is that weight disadvantage, I guess, for Toria, but I think Toria will probably move up to lightweight at some point in the future, and Toria has more than enough grappling credentials to hang out with Paddy. So this idea that Ilya would be scared of Paddy or whatever is just ridiculous. Plus, Ilya is also getting big as a star, especially in Spain. You can see from his following count and from the knockouts he's getting. I mean, coming off of the year he had, knocking out Volkanovski, knocking out Max Holloway. But Paddy really wants his Dustin Poirier fight, and I'm actually not all that against it. I actually wouldn't mind seeing it all that much. I do think that Dustin Poirier would win, seeing that Islam wasn't even able to control Dustin, so I think he should be fine against Paddy. But a knight in shining armor helped Paddy Pimblett, defended Paddy when he needed it, and that person is Nate Diaz. Yeah, I know, out of all people, Nate Diaz got into the mix of this situation and helped out Paddy Pimblett defending him. Nate reposted on his Instagram story the news report of Dustin Poirier saying he did not want to fight Paddy Pimblett, calling Paddy Pimblett not a legend. Nate says, "Fight Paddy, pussy, he better than you," which I think probably most people would disagree. I think this is just Nate Diaz stirring the pot, seeing he has a long history with Dustin Poirier as well. And yeah, I guess this is just like some weird Paddy Nate Diaz, you know, uniting against Dustin Poirier. The enemy of my enemy is my friend type of situation going on. And I do wonder if Nate Diaz getting involved could be a sign of something even bigger, but I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. Paddy Pimblett reposted Nate Diaz's story saying, "At Nate Diaz knows his shit. He's a real G. Dustin Poirier fights BSD when he's ranked number 12 and not me. You know what would happen," with a laughing emoji next to it, laughing at Dustin Poirier. But yes, last year Dustin Poirier fought Benoit Saint-Denis, and I think it was a little bit of a different situation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that this is a fair comparison, right? Like last year, you know, Dustin Poirier was coming off of a brutal loss to Justin Gaethje, and Dustin was just pretty much looking for anything to get a win back, just, you know, to fight again. However, you know, Dustin did beat BSD, fought Islam in his last fight, and looked, you know, pretty decent compared to other guys that Islam fought, especially like Renato Moicano. He got subbed in a round. I mean, Dustin Poirier did a lot better than that. And this is Dustin's last fight, so it's a lot different of a situation, right? I don't think Dustin would choose to fight BSD in the same circumstances, right? I think he just chose him because, look, he needed a win. You know, he wasn't exactly in the best choosing position anyway. Not exactly the same position. And the fact that Paddy Pimblett is actually trying to imply that Dustin Poirier would be afraid of Paddy, I mean, let's be honest, guys. Yes, does Paddy have good grappling? And yeah, he did look good good against Bobby Green, but that's different from Dustin Poirier, guys. Dustin Poirier was able to defend takedowns from Islam Makhachev. He has gotten better throughout his career, and most of all, I mean, his striking, his power, that is a dangerous thing for Paddy, seeing that Paddy gets caught. I mean, there's compilations on YouTube of Paddy Pimblett getting caught by unranked UFC fighters. Paddy Pimblett's defense has been a problem, right? I mean, the fact that his chin has been up is a problem. So I do not think he's going to be fighting Dustin Poirier, right? I think this is pretty much all but confirmed is not going to be the matchup that is going to be made. And like I said, Nate Diaz being involved, I wonder if this means we're going to see Dustin Poirier versus Nate Diaz. I know Nate Diaz is not in the UFC, but here's a couple things. Nate Diaz was in talks to fight KSI, and Nate Diaz decided not to fight KSI. Why? I have no idea. That would have presumably been an easy paycheck for him if he's looking to box. This would have made sense in that route. Maybe he declined the contract because he's thinking of signing again with the UFC. This is something Nate Diaz has talked about for a long time. He wants to re-sign with the UFC, wants to fight there again. Is this the time? Because yeah, Dustin Poirier, Nate Diaz, that has been a fight that has been in the talks for years at this point, and we could finally see it. So I wonder if this is just Nate Diaz playing mind games, you know, kind of just poking at Dustin Poirier, knowing that's what's next for him, or I could just be way overanalyzing this. Now, the fight with Paddy I think they're gonna make is Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. This seems to be the no-brainer. It's been in, you know, kind of in the talks, I guess, rumors for about a week or so, and it makes sense also because obviously Michael Chandler's coming off of that loss to Charles Oliveira, right, where, you know, he lost pretty dominantly and isn't really in that title contention conversation and is right outside the top 5, and that's a perfect name for Paddy Pimblett, you know, taking on an older veteran that is coming off of a loss to get a name. There was also, of course, this weird Paddy Pimblett moment on his YouTube channel where he kind of referenced Michael Chandler and his catchphrase.
People have been speculating about you and fighting this and that. I'm coming for that belt, so I'm looking for higher ranked fighters, and I'm sure you'll see a fight announcement soon enough. I've said yeah, the opponent said yeah, we just need to get stuff signed. So there's no Discord, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you at the top.
So it does seem like there's some legitimacy to the fight. It seems like that there is some talk, at least behind the scenes, that this could be an option. And like I said, Michael Chandler has kind of taken shots at this whole Dustin Poirier, Paddy Pimblett situation, tweeting out, "Y'all are funny. Fighting Paddy is a scary fight. Just joking. Can you imagine?" And of course, it's and of course, the top comment is "Pipe down, low bro," with just like Michael Chandler losing to Dustin. I mean, yeah, I interpreted this tweet as him kind of taking shots at Dustin Poirier, calling Dustin scared. I mean, I think anybody with a brain could understand why Dustin Poirier doesn't want to fight Paddy Pimblett. It's not because he's scared. It makes sense, especially losing to Paddy. Like, you really want to go out like that. But I really do like this Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett matchup. I think stylistically this is good. You know, Michael Chandler has good wrestling. I don't think that Paddy will be easily able to take him down, and he also hits extremely hard. So if Paddy Pimblett is lacking in the defense like he has before and gets cracked like he did against other guys, he's getting knocked out. Like, there's no way he's surviving a bomb from Chandler. Chandler throws like his whole ass into those punches, bro. Like, he throws like everything. So yeah, Paddy's head is gonna get knocked off his shoulders if that happens. But also, I could see Paddy even controlling Michael Chandler like Oliveira was able to do against Chandler, but I think Oliveira is just another level, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And yeah, Paddy Pimblett is just once again delusional. Like, yeah, Dustin Poirier is not hiding from Paddy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Check out my last video talking about the deleted Rampage Jackson Bryce Mitchell podcast that came out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.